All right, welcome back to the Real Estate Locker Room Show, folks. I'm your host, John Carney, and thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the podcast. I'm truly grateful, as you all know. I say it every time to you return listeners out there. It's pretty exciting, especially when we get feedback from you that people are connecting, listening to the show, and reaching out to our guests. You know, it's your support that makes this podcast special and successful and keeps me going. So I appreciate it. If this is your first time listener tuning into the show, great big welcome. We've got a killer show lined up for you today. We're going to be talking about some pretty cool stuff, investing with the tribe, with our guest, Travis Smith. Remember, the goal here today is to deliver you some actionable advice, something that you can use today to elevate your real estate investing game, to continue to raise the bar in your specific area of expertise in the real estate industry. You know, and whether you're an investor or an industry pro, welcome to the show that believes that real estate is a team sport. So we're up to episode number 95, which is awesome. We're approaching the century mark. And our guest today is Travis Smith. And we are going to kick off here and we're going to discuss investment tribe partnerships. Welcome to the show, Travis.
John, thanks for having me. So glad to be here.
Cool. Well, you know, to give some context to where we are, we're sort of in the middle of May 2020, still in Ohio for myself and during the lockdown. You guys, we're up in Cleveland. Are you down the road?
You know, we are. I didn't kind of put that together until right now. That's pretty cool. Yes, we are down in Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus, Ohio, home to the Ohio State University Buckeyes, and a great spot, whether you're just cruising up through the Ohio interstate system or want to go check out a game. It's definitely a sports town. Well, you know, Travis, you know, I like to explore the intersection of competitive sports and competitive real estate, only because I think there's a lot of value in what drives people who get to that top level, whether it's in business, sports, art, music. You know, there's drivers that separate the top performers, and the rest of us are just trying to kind of learn from those people that are uber successful. And, you know, so that the premise of the show in the Real Estate Locker Room is getting into that. So to stretch out a little bit here and open up the show, are you a sports fan?
Die hard. You know, I grew up between Columbus and Cleveland. So it's definitely, you know, part of what we grew up with in terms of high school and pro and college. So absolutely grew up playing basketball in high school. And I think it's the ultimate team sport, maybe other than real estate investing.
other than the real estate game, is there a player, is there a professional athlete that you kind of look up to and say, you know, that this guy's really, I admire what he brings to his craft?
This feels too easy. Of course, I'm sticking with basketball, but just admire greatness. I think LeBron James is just someone I grew up with, and the way he's handled himself, obviously his play on the court, but ultimate team player too. And I think what I love about him is he's diversified, right? It doesn't matter if basketball goes away tomorrow. He's built a brand and multiple streams of income and opportunity and wealth because he recognizes the platform that basketball has afforded him. So absolutely love LeBron, and, you know, being from the Cleveland area, just how much of an impact he's had, again, off the court and in the community. So special dude.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I'm fortunate enough that I've got to see him play a few times in the 2016 championship season, and it was just, I was just moving back to the States and moving back to Ohio, and that was a special time. And there's a lot to be learned from his work ethic and the discipline that he brings, and the leadership too. So I mean, I suppose when you're talking about you're a leader in your industry, right? You're the CEO of Tribevest, and with that, you have an extra set of responsibilities looking after your team and keeping the engine moving forward. So a lot to be learned by greats in their sports like LeBron James all across the board. Well, you started off in financial services and got into Tribevest. Can you share this success story that you and your brothers, tell us how this concept came to fruition?
Yeah, you bet. And I think just going back even further for a minute to keep with the sport, competitive sport analogy, talking about carrying on through my life and my career. I grew up 3,000 miles from my dad, and so coaches and my teammates always played a big role in like who I've become. And you might have heard of our like I come from a town called Lexington, which is in Mansfield, and there's this one article written about me called Lexington's All-American Success Story. Now, don't let that be confused with All-American, because I was far from that. But I appreciated the title, in that basically I got cut in 7th grade, barely made the B team in 8th grade, got cut again my freshman year, barely made the team my sophomore year. And then eventually kind of my senior year blossomed and ended up leading the league in rebounding. But to say I've learned a lot from sport would be an understatement. So anyway, I started out in financial services. I was hired by Morgan Stanley and trained in New York City, and wanted to get into building wealth. And, I didn't grow up, with anybody that was in investing or real estate or anything like that. So I just kind of saw Wall Street and that type of investing as a way to build wealth for myself. And what a way to make a living would be to help others build wealth too. I realized that was kind of the wrong industry to be in. I was more just selling investment products than I was really helping people reach their financial goals. And I often say I was saved by software and technology. I went to work for a company called Highland Software on Base, where I was an early employee and learned a ton from an awesome entrepreneurial company, and spent, really about 15 years in financial tech services. But probably most relevant to the Tribevest story and me becoming the founder and CEO was kind of along the way in parallel. About 12 years ago, during the last financial crisis, my brothers and I kind of saw that what we had been told, which was, go to school, get a good job, retire and die gracefully, wasn't going to work. And we didn't want to be dependent on our paychecks. And so we always saw real estate as a way to hack wealth without having to give up our day jobs. And but we had the same problem that most Americans have, right? Which is, to break into private markets, to break into business, to break into real estate, you need capital. And it was lump sums of money that we just didn't have. We had good jobs, but we didn't have the capital to get in. And so we kind of figured it out. We said, listen, let's stop talking about doing real estate deals that we can't afford, and let's solve the real problem, which is lack of capital. And on a fishing trip that we couldn't afford, we ended up committing $500 each a month, which was 4 of us. That's $2,000 a month, $24,000 a year. And one investment turned into another, turned into another, turned into another. And we look back at our multi-million-dollar portfolio, and we realized that by forming and funding that investment tribe, we secured a future, unlocked a future that we could have never dreamed of. So, and that was when people started to say, how are you investing in those things? And wait a minute, I have a tribe. Can you help me form an investment tribe? So 3 years ago, we set out to help, responsible, hardworking, middle-class Americans come together with their tribe, pull capital, and get into the real estate game.
That's awesome. I really like the concept, and we'll direct listeners to your website on the show notes, because you guys have a great video that tells the story as well. But I mean, I almost want to go back to to the lessons you learned getting cut your freshman year. I mean, you didn't give up, you didn't quit, and the personality that really rises quickly in the real estate. It's not easy, right? I mean, it's a business, it's a sport, it's a grind, but I mean, there is wealth to be created, with the right team of people around you. But do you look back at your sporting career, in high school, and that grit, I suppose, that you had and you might not know you had, is playing a big part in bringing you fast forward to the future where you are today?
No question. We kind of make fun of the Al Bundy, looking back on the glory years. I didn't have, an incredible career. I was a pretty solid rebounder and defender, and, contributed big time. But, most importantly was the lesson that resilience is the most valuable attribute in life and business and sport. And if if you're willing to be humble and, swallow your pride and get back at it, you're going to learn, you're going to grow, and you're going to be in a better position to go further next time. And so, yeah, I think as I was doing it in high school, I thought, I don't know what I thought. People must look at me like I was kind of crazy. But now looking back at it, it's been a huge motivator for me. Like if I could do that, life's the metaphor rings true.
That's super cool. Well, thanks for sharing that story. And I didn't mean to get you off on a tangent. We're gonna circle back now to Tribevest, the concept, and dig in and share a little bit of like, what the ideal, not the ideal client or customer, but more of what's the most common conversation that you find your company having with investors when they approach you, and sort of walk us through that initial phone call. Someone out there realizes, right, hey, I want to put my money to work in real estate. We'll just keep with the theme of real estate. And there's this group that can help myself and my like-minded friends and family who I trust, get started. So what does that process look like for someone that wants to do this, but doesn't have the funds to go it alone? And why would you want to go it alone when you can have fun creating wealth with people that you care about?
Yeah, I told you this was one of I was the most excited about going on this podcast, just because of your format here, and it really is a team sport. I mean, so I think the most common client or tribe are those people out there, and we've all been there before, where we're at happy hour or around the dinner table or at a holiday party, and it comes up that we should do, and fill in the blank, right? We should invest in that house that just went on the market, around the corner in our neighborhood. We should do a franchise, and how awesome would that be? We should buy a vacation home is a real popular type of a tribe that we have. And in the past, it's not that you didn't mean it when you said that to the people you're around, your tribe. It's just, where do you start? And the burden falls on somebody. Somebody's got to kind of take the lead and make things happen. So now with Tribevest, you can pull out your app and you say, hey, are you serious? Because if you are, let's start taking steps to forming a tribe. Are we aligned? Let's qualify if we're good business partners. And Tribevest, is a free app that helps you do that. And then even start to set aside money together, and where you can view it in a Tribe View dashboard. And then when you do have enough money for whatever it is your goal is, you can file for your LLC, get your EIN. You can open up a FDIC insured business banking account, all online, no matter where your partners are in the country. And you can start transacting together, and essentially Tribevest becomes your group operating system with transparency and access for all.
That's pretty cool. So how long have you guys been working with clients outside of yourself, right?
Yeah. So we started. Yeah, we started.
Sorry, your ultimate test was yourself, right?
John, you hit it. I mean, when we really set off to do this, it was, gosh, what would we do differently, right? And that list was long. I mean, the truth is, like, we almost, didn't do it. We almost broke the brand up a few times. I'm proud to say to this day that, we still do $500 a month to finance all of our deals. And we continue to, of course, leverage and roll and reinvest our profits from previous deals. But all the real test was us doing it. And we did it like how other people do it, which was, we don't need to talk about the what ifs or the what's next. We'll figure out our relationship's strong enough. And the fact is because your relationship's strong and you value those so much, that's exactly why you need to align and agree before you go into business together. We say more important than the rules are the rules up front. And, Tribevest is an awesome neutral third party that really mitigates risk, mitigates emotion through process, through data. So to get back to answer your question, so we started 12 years ago, my brothers and I, we started the platform 3 years ago, and it's been awesome. We've set out to help, the rest of us figure out how to pull capital so we can do more together. And along the way, John, which has been interesting, is we started to realize that a lot of real estate agents were forming tribes. And so we talked to them, and it's no surprise that real estate agents get the idea of forming a tribe or real estate investors. I guess I never realized how many real estate agents are real estate investors. And there's the real estate investors that are first, and then kind of realtors second, and then there's real estate agents that are real estate agents first, and and then also do some real estate investing on the side. And that was kind of our client out there. And then they came to us after forming their own tribes and doing their own deals with their own tribe. They came to us and said, listen, can we offer Tribevest to our clients? And it initially started as a vacation, in the vacation home markets. These realtors specialized at vacation homes, and almost a third of all vacation homes are bought with friends and family, so bought via the group. And so we put together a program where the realtor now can offer Tribevest to their clients as a differentiator in the market. It also is a creative way for lead generation. You think about, you have one client, and now they bring another 4 or 5 into the group, which are also your clients. And you start to see kind of this force multiplier network effect. And then the really cool thing is if they signed them up on our platform, they get visibility into where those tribes are. So it kind of shortens the sales cycle with your clients in that you can, they start their tribe. Maybe they're not ready to buy right now, but in 12 months, they have $60,000 of capital, and, you're the one that helped them do that through Tribevest, and you're ready to go help them close a deal or whatever.
That it's fascinating, isn't it? How you discover the the various needs for your product once it's out there, right? I mean, I just had a gentleman on my show who developed an app. He thought it was a travel app. Now it's a real estate agent app. and all of a sudden he went from, you know, the Northern California tech industry, right? And now he's in the real estate game by accident. Yeah, a lot of real estate agents or investors, you know, have the license because there's a lot of different ways to monetize just something other than collecting rent. I mean, there's different ways along the journey. So, you know, my whole philosophy is, you know, I'm not that clever, but I want to be surrounded by people that really understand their niche in the market, right? Lending's huge, right? Newer in financial services. I mean, that's a whole new language that you guys speak, and I know enough to know that I don't know anything. Right.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool. So if someone when your new clients on board, do you guys have a list of references now that you're building around the country? We'll just say in Columbus, you know, if you know, to help people really walk through and understand the importance of just step number one, a limited liability company and a bank that's open to real estate investors, right? Some banks don't want you, and some banks can't get enough of you. Is that sort of some of the ancillary services that you have?
Yeah, absolutely. So the core, you know, of what we do and is really our niche is this idea of, you know, how to help with group dynamics, right? And helping people come together and come to decisions together and to be able to go into business together. So that's a little bit of our niche. Call it kind of the Tribevest process. But the other piece of this is we've curated everything you need to form that business. So you can file that LLC in any of the 50 states, you get your EIN, you know, you understand your different options in terms of business structure and the benefits of doing an LLC and a classified as a partnership. And then, you know, having that operating agreement, right? We're not attorneys, but we make you think through all the things that you need to agree on before you go into business. And then again, being in the fintech space, you know, we're fortunate to have FDIC insured national banks that give you the ability to open up your business bank account online so you can start to transact together. And then also that this idea of like monthly manageable contributions, right? It's kind of opened up this, hey, I don't have $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 to put down. But if 4 of us put down $500 a month, right, in, you know, 9 months, we're going to be in a nice position to do business. So we also help kind of set those types of arrangements up. So if you don't have capital ready, you will in a matter of time.
Yeah, it's super cool, and it really is laying out. Going back, you know, to well, what am I trying to say here? You have the process, right? But you're going like to the pre-process, like it's like a prequel. Hey, get aligned first, you know, and then I suppose you would know pretty quick if there's 4 people that are supposed to be putting in their $500 a month and someone's always late. Right.
Yeah. You know, that accountability, right? And then again, taking the burden off of the people, right? Like you know, first of all, we're just as proud of the tribes that don't qualify and decide not to go into business, right? Like we love those outcomes.
Yeah.
We feel like we saved relationships.
Sure.
And we love the ones that go together and do incredible things. And what's more fun, like you said earlier, than doing, you know, learning and growing and building wealth together as a team sport? It's incredible. But yeah, we do. We go back and we make sure that, you know, you're doing it right, right? And if you grew up in a country club or, you know, super wealthy, you don't need Tribevest, right? You're not worried about paying $15,000 to get your partners all in a room and work this out and pay that attorney as a third party to come up with the perfect, you know, agreement. But, you know, the rest of us don't have that country club. And so, what we now, thank goodness, technology has enabled us to be able to put same types of partnerships together, all online and at, for a little bit of a cost.
But just, there's a lot of high income earners out there that may or may not be members of country clubs, right? But like, we'll just say high income earners that are really good at, maybe sales or manufacturing, or they're in they're a medical professional, or they're, a white collar service professional, and they're at the top of their game, and they want it, but they're so focused with their workload, right? With their hourly workload, that getting together a group of people, and going through a Tribevest thing helps kind of add some structure and discipline to the process, because, you do come across people that are super smart in their field, and then go into real estate, unfortunately not the correct way, and have a first bad experience, which is I would argue is a learning experience not to repeat. But I'm like you, part of the premise of this show is, hey, let's reduce the pain, at least that I know I've suffered by making mistakes, by having all sorts of professionals around the world share their story through technology, right? And, this platform we're both talking to each other on, and get the knowledge and meet the people that you align with, so that at least you have, a running start. We were just teaching my daughter how to take the training wheels off, right? So like the push that gets you going, so that you don't lose your hard-earned money. I nothing gets to me more than when I hear a story of someone who worked really hard and got into something. There are bad deals out there. Times and circumstances change, but if you can prepare yourself by being surrounded by a great team first, your chances of success are much, much, much greater. And maybe I'm stating the obvious. So I love this $500 a month, and a group of people putting that into a pool, and they get to watch it grow. So they're of the opinion, these folks, that they're putting this pool together for a future real estate transaction is a better use of their dollars saved than going into a bank account, right? Like, they're already beyond that narrative.
Well, absolutely. They want to get into real estate, and for the obvious reasons, right? And but how do you do it, right? And there's again, with technology, you can go, invest in all sorts of real estate investment products, but to really benefit from that asset class, you need to own it. And Tribevest is that kind of nice intermediate next step. And you nailed it. It's, hey, if you can surround yourself with your tribe, your extended tribe, and I think about going 12 years ago, we didn't have podcasts like you to listen to, right? We had a few books that we read, and then there was us, and we didn't know anything about real estate investing, but we overcame that because of our tribe and our willingness to support one another. So there's the tribe, the core, the unit, and then there's this kind of extended tribe, which is what you're part of. That the bigger ecosystem of, hey, how do I minimize my risk? And so Tribevest, gives people access to their own tribe. And you think about, like, if I have 5 people in my tribe, not only have I limited the risk by 5, I've multiplied my capital by 5, and I've multiplied my network by 5. And so you just increase your chances of being successful out there, all with the same principles that you're talking about. Where do I get the guts to do this? The first time you're doing anything is hard. And so by listening to you and all the different experts out there on your show, make me a little bit more likely to take that risk. Talking to my neighbor and seeing them do those things, or having a realtor that is is helpful. And then, forming a tribe really cements that you will do it. We say that, by forming a tribe and starting a manageable monthly contribution, you've cemented the future, right? It's not a question of if, it's just a question of when, because you've committed to your tribe. You said, hey, we're all going to put in this much money, and by this time, we're going to have real money, real capital ready to go. So, yeah, that's, a little bit about, more about, why it works.
No, I love it. And it's genuine. It's a genuine family business, and you found a problem in the market, and you just continue to check off all the reasons why entrepreneurs end up in the seat you're in and adding value in helping people be successful. I absolutely love the concept, and I'm happy that we're able to share it with the audience. So, a couple things that I love to ask our guests as we sort of, wind down on the clock here. Is there a book, a business book or a real estate book, or something that you have on your shelf that you recommend people pick up and learn something new?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like I always have to give a shout out to Robert Kiyosaki, and I'm sure it's just kind of the standard book, but it changed my life. It was the book my brothers and I were reading 12 years ago when we figured out we better get into real estate. Are you with me on that, John?
I was. I mean, I've got multiple copies. I've got one at my office and one on my bookshelf at home that I keep asking my wife to read.
I ordered one for my kids, and I got it, and it was like in Japanese or something. So I was like, oh my gosh, there's like, Rich Dad Poor Dad for kids, and I found it on the internet, and it was in a different language. So anyway, but yeah, I'm I can't wait to share those lessons with my kiddos. But I think maybe this group will appreciate. I'm really into finding the product market fit, as we talk about as a software company, and it's all about building a product or a service that matches the market, and creating just fanatics about your product out there. And a great book I'm reading right now is called This Is Marketing, by Seth Godin, who's a marketing genius and everything. But
before Gary Vaynerchuk, there was Seth Godin.
no doubt. Love them both.
Yeah, he's the OG. Seth is, a big fan. I have not read all of his books, but he pumps them out and always relevant, isn't he?
Yeah, one of his books is Tribes.
I know.
Which has really influenced our business too.
That's like maybe 7 feet away from me.
Right on.
But well, that's cool. So in order to, we know you have grit and determination. That's come out over the right out of the chute in this conversation. But do you have a practice or something that you do that helps you stay focused on the task at hand, and that you'd like to share with the audience? We'll call it a pro tip.
Yeah, I'd love to. I think, get advice from a lot of people, and there's truth in all of it. But so much of it is it's up to the person if it could really impact them. I think there's one thing that I think is universal that everybody would benefit from, and it changed my life. So 5 years ago, I started to do this practice of I'll get up, and it's funny, I actually do it on a spreadsheet, but I'll count 3 gratitudes, of the last 24 hours, and then I'll write down on my sheet, my vision, right? And sometimes it's ringing the New York Stock Exchange, or being at a dream vacation home that I own with my family, things like that, where I really go deep into what I'm visualizing even down to the kind of the smell or the sense around me. And then I'll journal. For just a few sentences in a paragraph, and then I'll wrap up with 20 minutes of meditation. And that's, I wasn't good at meditating. I didn't know how to do it, right? But I really stuck with it, and it's actually something you can get better at. And it's an incredible way of unlocking, all sorts of things, ideas, unlocking, problem solving, helping visualize the future. So yeah, I hope that wasn't too long, man. But I feel like anytime anybody asks me about a practice that will work, it's 100% guaranteed. If you did that practice every morning, it'll work.
Yeah, I mean it's enough people are talking about that, and a few guests on the show that what a morning ritual. Another way would say morning ritual, but have a ritual in your day that helps you unplug and get away from the noise. Sounds like you have kids. I mean, you have to wake up really early in my household to beat my daughter, and maybe being out barbells and running are generally my meditative state at the moment. But well, that's awesome. Well, Travis, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining me today in the locker room. Where can our audience find you, to carry on the conversation?
Tribevest.com. And you can also follow me at TribeTrav on Twitter. But you can just sign up for the free app online, or just fill out a contact us and mention this show, and ask to talk to me, and I'll follow up with an email and get back to you.
That's awesome. Well, there you have it, folks. I truly hope you picked up some actionable advice today from Mr. Travis Smith, and download the free app, and next time you're actually within a social distance of some people, having something to eat or something to drink, and you've got that idea, pitch it and see who's in, and start saving together as a group. This is a great product and service. All right. Well, make sure to check out the Real Estate Locker Room Show on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio. The list goes on and on. But generally, if you're listening to us now, maybe just recommend us to a friend. The mission here is to help you elevate your real estate game today. And if you like what the show is all about, I'd be stoked if you'd leave us a review on your preferred podcasting platform, simply so that other like-minded real estate investors just like us are able to find the content online when we're tuning into a podcast or looking for some new content to help us along the way. The post-game report, show notes, links, and additional content related to our conversation here with Travis Smith and Tribevest will be up on my website in the show notes, johncarneyonline.com, podcast/episode EP95. And while you're there, feel free to drop your name into the email sign-up form. We occasionally send out some stuff for you, only if we think it's valuable, of course. Remember to stay focused on your goals, have fun, stay in the game. I'm your host, John Carney, and until next time, work hard, play hard, and raise the bar. All right, Travis, awesome. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to share this with the audience.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks, John.
Welcome. All right. I am